Design has always intrigued me. I have been a big fan of design from the longest time that I remember. And it has been the forefront of whatever I do. And I'm probably guessing it's also very instrumental to where I am today as an architecture and interior photographer, because there is no shortage of design in my field. Hi, I'm Ricken. I am an architecture and interior photographer working professionally for the past 10 years, and I have been asked a number of questions, numerous amount of times, on how do you start off in the field of architecture and interior photography, what is the gear, etc., etc. So, I decided, let's make a nice video on 5 tips to start your journey in architecture and interior photography. And yeah, there is a bonus tip at the end of the video, don't forget that. But before we start off, there is an important point that needs to be addressed, right? Which is subscribe to my channel. If you guys liked and learned something from it, give a thumbs up, comment, let me know what I can improve on. Helps me, encourages me to make a few more of these. So let's go. So tip number 1, gear, probably the most asked question ever, at least with me. So here's a list of gear that you need. First one being camera, very obvious, but try to get a basic DSLR camera with interchangeable lens. That's probably really very helpful. Then you need a good tripod. You need a good sturdy tripod. That helps you in keeping your shots steady and leveled. It's important to keep your shots leveled. So that's one of the reasons you need a good sturdy tripod. Lenses, that's probably also where people ask me a lot of questions on what lens do you use for this shot or whatever. I would suggest to get a wide angle lens for a wider capture of your spaces. So probably, since I am on Sony, a 16-35, and depending on what brand you use. And a good prime lens, probably a 50mm lens for those detailed shots. These are relatively affordable to start off with, and then you can, depending on what you're shooting and where you are in your journey, you can upgrade. Other than that, I would strongly recommend getting a few extra SD cards. Don't go to a shoot with, 1 SD card or maybe 2. Have at least 3. It helps. When you're talking extra SD cards, I would also recommend to take extra batteries, right? You don't want to be stuck charging a battery in the middle of a shoot, so it's better you carry a few extra batteries as well. Other than that, I carry basic stuff. I have a good bag that protects my gear. In fact, been using the same bag for the last 8 years. Other than that, I carry a few cleaning stuff, like microfiber cloths, etc., just to make sure that before I start my shoot off, my camera should be clean and don't face anything extra while I'm on the edit. So in case you want to see what's in my camera bag, comment. I'll probably make a video on that. That's an interesting video that I can make on. Number 2, composition, symmetry, leading lines. In short, your eye to see things, see the space, how you are going to pursue a particular space. That's what makes you and sets you apart from other people. I'm not going to bore you into the rules of composition, etc., etc. But in architecture and interior photography, it is helpful and important that you keep your horizontal and vertical lines straight to start off with. And yeah, I mean, basic rules of compositions do apply, but I find it fun when you actually experiment a bit with those rules, bend it, not break them. That would probably create some interesting pictures. But yes, do have a strong knowledge of the compositions of photography, and that would probably help you start off with creating some good images. Tip number 3, understanding light. Great. I think one of the best, one of the most important points in any genre of photography, right? Understanding light. It's very important to understand where light or how light hits the space that you're photographing. Natural light is always the best. Even when you're indoors, it's good to have an understanding of light, the temperatures of light inside a room, etc., etc., etc. And there is no right or wrong way of photographing a space, in the sense that a lot of photographers use artificial light in the space to shoot a space to light up the dark parts. But for me, example, I don't use any kind of artificial light. I shoot the space as it comes. But there's no right or wrong there. You need to choose a path which is more comfortable. But whichever path you choose, it is very important to understand how light is affecting the space. You would need to know the direction of the sunlight. There are good many apps which you can download, and they will tell you, the whole direction of the sun, and you could plan your shoot which part of the day, morning, noon, evening. Typically, I kind of like when the sun is, if it's morning, then I would love to see which side the house or the space is. East, where the sun rises. If the house is facing east, then morning is a good time, just for example, because the sun would hit onto the space. Your back is facing the sun, typically. But this kind of knowledge of understanding light and where it falls from actually makes you plan a shoot very efficiently. So yeah, understand light, where it's coming from, and download one of those apps. And in case you need it, comment down below. I'll let you know which apps to follow. Tip number 4, client brief. Probably, again, a very important factor. It's very important to get a brief from your client on the space that you're going to shoot to. So let's face it, the client is the client's baby. The architect or the interior designer has spent years, if not months, designing, creating, being on the space, being on site rather. So it's important to take their brief first. Also, I have found that a lot of times I visit a site and I plan to shoot a particular space. I have these shots in mind, but when I get a client brief and the client also has a few amazing angles that, hey, I didn't think about that, I should probably try that angle as well. So a mix of both these thought processes, if I may say so, is a great place to start. Get a client brief. You will definitely give them what they want, but when you get the client brief and you decide to creatively probably shoot a few shots of your own, that would set you apart from others in the game. And hey, this is my eye, this is how I shot it, and you have the client brief completed as well. So client brief, don't forget. Tip number 5. Very initially, I was also told by a few photographers that I used to stalk or follow, and a lot of them used to tell me, plan for the edit. Yeah, tip number 5 is plan for the edit, but I never understood it. What do you mean plan for the edit? Do I have to shoot a space and then take care of it in the edit, or no? It doesn't mean that you shoot however you want and then take care of it in the edit. What I mean by plan for the edit is when you might be in a situation where the space is a little bit tough to shoot, but if you have in mind, that this is how I'm going to edit this image. This is how the final product is going to be. It would help you so much. I mean, you can control light, you can control, whatever you want to control. But if you have in the back of your head that, hey, if I shoot this particular shot in this angle, um, and I'm going to edit it in a certain way, this outcome is going to be great. So that will probably help you. Even a few photographs from the entire site, if you have in the back of your head, right, this is how I'm going to, that's going to really help. So yeah, my tip would be plan for the edit. I mean, don't shoot entirely depending on the edit. Plan for the edit and shoot. I hope you found the difference there. Anyway, so those are the 5 tips for architecture and interior photography, just to start off with. And there is a bonus tip. The bonus tip is sneakers and snacks. I just made it sound cool, but it is an important one, trust me. When you're shooting, you are probably standing on your feet for, I don't know, 4 hours, 6 hours, 8 hours throughout the day. It's very important to take care of your feet. Invest in some good sneakers. They don't need to be branded. I'm not, saying, hey, get these, get that. Get a good pair of sneakers which supports your heel. You might be shooting houses where, it's frowned upon to wear shoes in the house, but I always carry disposable shoe covers, and I request the client that, hey, can I put these on because I need to take care of my feet. I have leg issues, and it's much better that way. It's better to be safe than sorry. And the second one is snacks. When I say snacks, don't carry like, chips, Doritos. No, 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 no. What I mean is just carry a few, dry fruits, maybe a protein bar, maybe a fruit. So, in the middle of a shoot, I have found that sometimes, you're shooting continuously for a couple of hours, level of energy, level of creativity might slightly, take a dip. And that's the time. That's the time when I pop in probably a protein bar, a couple of dry fruits, take a 5-minute break, and the mind refreshes. And then you're back at it again, with full energy, or at least more energy than you were before. So yeah, snacks and sneakers and snacks. That's the bonus tip. And that does it for this video. I really hope you guys liked it. Do comment below, let me know. Don't be brutal. Do I make more such videos? Let me know.